All right, we're back. We're doing a Dropfleet Commander command abilities overview. Since we just finished going through the top 3 picks of the factions, which are not necessarily like the most competitive ones, but ones we liked, we figure we would go over the command abilities. Now that the cards are just gone, the unique abilities aren't gone, and we wanted to kind of go over and sort of show the different things that we have access to depending on the faction. Okay, would you like to explain Admiral abilities, Andrew?
Oh, I gotta do this one? Alright. You are... Each fleet ought to have some sort of Admiral, I would think. You don't want just one ability point. You want more ability points. And Admirals, according to their level, when they get put into the ship in the fleet at the beginning of the game, generate points that you can use at the beginning of each round. Did I miss anything?
No, do they generate every turn?
Yes, and you actually lose your points at the end of the turn. So it's use it or lose it.
Okay. Simple. So there's what, core abilities that basically everyone has access to. So there's like a dice reroll.
Yeah. Core abilities, they've, in the original rules that came out first time, like, it wasn't really explicit. Well, I mean, it kind of was. Like, these abilities are the player's core abilities. The Mulligan reroll, classic. The second one's, I found useful as I've been playing the game, is doing the making it a 4. I think that's a structural damage that we don't have to.
Okay.
Some extra damage, but
Yep.
all of the other results are worse than that.
Yes. And then the third one is making the explosion a 2, which I think is just a spike. I think it spikes.
It's probably less bad, I imagine.
Yeah, reactor rupture.
Yeah, because it's like, and 3s is when you start taking damage. So, and then I like to call this last one time to target, kind of reminiscent of V1. You get to move your wing a second time, and it explicitly says a second time. That's it.
I mean,
No max thrusting bombers for 6 admiral points, ability points.
and if you have access to these even if your admiral's dead, since they're based on the player, right?
Unless you're dead while you're playing.
So if you die during the game, your admiral still has abilities. I'm glad we clarified that.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to be
Although if
confirmed
your
dead?
admiral's dead, you'll have like 1 action point, I think. So like you can't do anything other than command reroll unless you've got an ability.
I think as an argument for my TO, only a medical doctor can confirm you're dead. So there's going to be a severe delay of game at best.
But that second one, that last one, the time to target is even if it's just the second one, it's still pretty good threat range for most bombers. And what's the additional 6 inches?
What's the activation sequence for a wave of bombers? Are they their own activation once they're a wing?
Yeah, there will be an extra phase at the end of the game, the name of which escapes me. That'll be when all the launch assets move and fight. So they have their own chance to move normally, and then you use the ability to move again with one of your wings.
And I assume their attacks are based on being within range, so this would be helpful.
Yeah, it's base contact.
Yeah, so you get the 6 inches of movement, but then you get that little tiny bit if you can just turn your square base.
Oh my gosh, okay. Oh, did I skip one? Are we going straight to... No. Yep, UCM abilities. Alright, Colonial Legions. So after battalions fight, you target a drop site or feature, if any enemy battalions completely removed any friendly battalions, place one battalion on that drop site or feature. So be annoying. If they removed you, just undo. It doesn't undo it. It just you put one there.
It's just I'm still contesting how convenient. Now your bulk landers are taking fire whenever they try to land. So I think it's mostly just to delay bulk landers. It won't really stop dropships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could also use it if you both kill each other off of the point. You could use this so that now suddenly you actually control it. I just thought of that.
I think just contesting a drop site is huge, especially for scenario features that allow your opponent to fire a weapon. Just that single battalion, just be like, nah, you're too busy.
So, the next one, intensify point defense. At the start of the round, pick one friendly group. All ships in that group gain Aegis 1 until the end of the round. So what is that? Aegis 1 is reroll kinetic saves, right? Within that.
Aegis is the kinetic save reroll, and the number is just the range. So in effect, what this really means is that all of your ships just have Aegis.
Yeah.
That group, which is actually pretty huge. They're all now Jakartas.
So if you had a 4-pack of frigates, let's assume all their bases are touching in like a nice little square thing. Would they reroll 4 kinetic saves? Because they all are 3?
So just having Aegis means you'll reroll all of your kinetic saves.
Oh.
So you're already doing that, yeah.
It's just the range. Okay.
I don't have any of the new bases, but I'm pretty sure even at 1 inch you can't, since you can't overlap bases of, I think that's actually too small for even a frigate to be in range of any other ship because it's still stem to stem.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help anyone else.
So it just
30,
means
it's stem to stem is 30 millimeters, which is still over an inch, right? Yeah, it's still over an inch.
That's kind of funny. So
they're not even really Jakartas, I guess.
They're granting it to themselves effectively.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty wild.
Yep.
It's a funny way to make it to where only their group gets it, but okay.
That was the intent on it. It totally was just that.
Yeah,
that
it makes sense. It makes sense. You could just say only the ships have Aegis. I guess. Whatever. It's fine. It's just the 1 is a funny thing. It's not bad. Okay, infiltrate and sabotage. At the end of the planning phase, target 1 drop site. That drop site takes D3 core hits. So you don't even have to have any battalions there. You just say, that one, bad.
Yeah, pretty much. You've got sappers.
And it gets rid of battalions, the enemy battalions on there. So, start of the turn, after some combat, maybe there's like 1 or 2 left. Well, you got a chance to just totally wipe them out if you want.
Yeah. Sinkhole weapons. Mass driver volley. So it's just +1 attack per mass driver in a group until the end of its activation. And
I use this one a lot. Yeah.
And it's when they make the attack too. So you don't have to like super in advance make it obvious which one you're trying to shoot with.
Mm-hmm.
Atmospheric bombing
this
run.
is the new wording, isn't it?
I like the old one just thematically.
Are we talking about atmospheric bombing run?
Yeah. Oh, bombardment. Okay.
Yeah, there's like this weird like interaction. Like technically, assets I think don't move in atmosphere. They always
Yeah, they're always treated as being in orbit.
Yeah, for like scenery purposes, which is essentially like they're just always in orbit.
So they it's actually way better if you think of it, because now you can use the bombers to hit a ship that's in orbit or a drop site.
Yep.
Oh yeah, hit a descent ship. Yeah, definitely.
Normally, you can't even do that with the launch assets. It's specifically called out that only a launch asset with bombardment could do those things. But it doesn't also say you don't get the plus lock bonus against descent cities. So I think even the bombing run will be like 2s against the city now, right?
For a lot
'Cause
of
you're still
them,
getting the
yeah.
benefit of bombardment.
I suppose. What is a UCM bomber at?
3+ lock.
I guess if you target, right? Technically, if you target a city, then go
Yeah.
+2.
You'll
You're looking
cap
at 2.
That's pretty spicy. I mean, it is pretty. I really like it thematically to have like make a giant wing of bombers and just wipe out a whole sector. I mean, drop sites.
Oh. Can you? Oh, that would be interesting. Does it ignore the saves too? Oh.
Yeah, that's.
I would assume it would if you've got a properly sized wing.
Yeah, okay. Next gen armor plating. At the end of the planning phase, target one friendly group. That group may reroll failed energy saves until end of round. Okay, so UCM has big stonks in kinetic saves, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yes.
So this helps patch up
big.
their weakness, so to speak. I feel like they're the big armor faction anyway at this point.
It's like having the GS energy saves, I guess.
Yeah, they love rerolls on defense.
And these are just the base ones, right? So
Essentially, yeah.
okay, who wants to talk over the Scourge ones?
I guess that leaves the Scourge player to do that.
You play Scourge as well.
Technically.
I can take it. You want me to just go line by line?
Cyrus is going to want the PHR. It's fine.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
You can kind of summarize them. We don't have to go word for word here.
Okay. For the species, right, is your classic ramming. For core hits. So if you feel like you just don't want to play the game anymore and you want that dreadnought just gone to destroy your opponent, go for it. Augmentations. Remember, I think the rule that people forget on this one is that if you have a deployed feature to a drop site, you are in control of it or contesting it, depending on, obviously, your enemy's battalions there too as well. And having an orbital defense gun is fun. Abandon All Hope's your classic. Oh, don't be afraid to interrupt me if you guys got something to say.
No, that's funny.
Abandon All Hope, that's your classic discard. I find it funny that they say you discard ability points.
You're right.
I just let it be. I was like, everybody knows what's happening on that one. Like, I'm not going to nitpick that word. They already say a dice plenty of times in the rules. When friendly battalions on a drop site, let's see, assimilated bioforms. That's kind of like your colonial legions, right? So, kind of that's their way of replenishing that drop site. High speed launch, I think, is going to be the underrated one. Rapid drop, I don't think a lot of people appreciate that rule. I know that there has been a couple games I've already played where I'm just like, oh, I wish I had rapid drop, because then I could just drop my battalions right here and then move my ship out.
Oh, okay.
And then expert defense crews, again, like this is one of the Scourge does have this is their way to get Marines if you are really worried about being boarded. Well, I don't think that's an overwhelming tactic in the game right now.
For now. It's kind of interesting. For the species, seems like reactor overload from drop zone. The core overload thing, whatever it was.
Yeah, what is it, like was that the one where the ships would destroy, like you just land a transport and just have it blow up?
Yeah, you would just overload the reactor and it explodes and does, I don't know, some damage.
Classic Scourge tactic.
Yeah. Put the plasma cores to work. All right, look, the PHR stuff.
Yay.
You still have the important stuff.
Yeah. For all the cards we lost, we still didn't lose any of like the good ones. I think they kept most of the cool ones. for each faction. So countermeasures hack, that's changed a little bit. It now basically reduces the kinetic save of the target group by 1, so it's not like actually losing your point defenses or anything, or your saves, but it does reduce them greatly. It's pretty useful. Looks like there's a way to not suffer it for Colossal. Yeah, on the 4-up. Weapons hack is still back. It's not as nasty as it was before. It's basically just one less weapon when you calculate the number of weapons your ship can shoot. So it's still really handy for tying someone's weapons up and stopping them from shooting you, but it's not as overpoweringly good as it was. Command hack, it's just like the Scourge one. You discard D3 ability points. Drive hack, once per round, planning phase. You can just give a bucket of navigation tokens offline to a group. That's pretty good.
That's fun. So much
They get their
hacking.
backup saves against it though, so it won't affect bigger ships as much. Then there's repair drone squadron. You can recover lost hull points basically. It's a heal. And then elite ground forces. It's probably better than the two that you guys each had for your factions, because you just add battalions. Like
Great.
whenever you drop, you
Oh,
just
that's-
get these more.
They fight right away too, because that's the start of the asset phase.
Oh, do they? I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's wild.
Ooh, question. What do you guys think? I have the answer, or I think I have an answer. I believe it is. But for weapons hack and drive hack, it says last sentence, those ships may use their backup saves to negate this effect. Do you think that formation benefit
Yes.
allows it? Okay.
I think so too. Because then you have backup saves, period. It doesn't matter what the tonnage is or whatever.
I would say yes, overall.
Also,
You got a backup if you can use it.
PHR are just filthy hackers now.
So-
It's always the case, so there's nothing new there.
Yeah, but now you have like several flavors.
So here's my counter to that one.
None of these
This
are
is
new.
it. Those
We've
two
had
aren't
both.
attacked. So then
I was
you wouldn't
saying-
get your backup saves.
Hmm.
I just want to say that so far, if you're playing like a 4-player game, I feel like everyone has to have like 2 extra ability points. Because the first thing that's going to happen is everyone's going to point at each other Spider-Man style across the table and be like, you discard D3 points. You discard D3 points.
It's a good plan. I like it.
I like that.
I'm just saying, like, that's... If we're doing
I would-
multiplayer beyond 2...
Because it calls out that you can take backup saves to negate the effect. As long as you have the backup save, you would be able to use that.
Yeah. Okay. Resistance. Oh, I guess I'll do this one. Expert repair crews. At the start of the repair step, at the end phase, remove all crippling effects or friendly groups. That's just auto repair instead of rolling for it, right?
Mhm.
Duct tape and bubble gum. What are they? Okay, so it's box of scraps. Or is it? It's like slightly worse, right? Well, compared
Oh,
to
Yeah,
all,
'cause it only
yeah, it's
This
only
is like unreal toughness from the old PHR deck. The ship still dies, but it
Yeah.
doesn't die immediately,
yeah.
so it can still do whatever it wants to.
and it's fixed by tonnage, so it has to be a big boy.
Oh, redundant ship systems. When an opponent rolls a turn and crippling effect for a friendly ship, they roll twice and you pick one of the results. That's nice.
The Eldar Hollow Fields are back, and you didn't even know it.
But what sucks is if they have like some kind of status specific result, none of this happens. Because it's when they roll. If they're not rolling,
Yeah. So it
I
only
think
works
that-
with natural cripples, which makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
final mission. Okay, when you attack with a wing of fire ships, one of those fire ships gains Corruptor 2. Yes. So you can deploy the Supreme Alderman of the Sun into your opponent's ship. That's what I'm getting.
Well, after you send enough fire ships that you just every time you use this, you end up destroying the ship accidentally instead of trying to capture it.
Well, I just know what it is like you deploy the little fire pod things or whatever, and like one of them is actually an escape pod with some dudes in it, and that's what the corruptor is. Is they just happen to like wake up inside the ship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never tell me the odds. When you move a group through scenery, that group gains a 4-up backup save against any hits from scenery this activation. I'm sure it'll be fine. Sabotage. At the end of the activation phase, before activating drop sites, pick one drop site controlled by an enemy player. That drop site cannot be activated this round. It's, so what, you deny, like, orbital defense batteries and launch from those things?
At the
Yes.
very least, yeah. I'm assuming it doesn't stop ground combat somehow, does it?
I don't think it does.
I don't think you activate the drop site for ground combat. I think.
I would hope not. That would get awkward fast.
But if there's like some drop site with a bunch of guns, this could be pretty funny.
No, yeah, this is totally for yeah, it's not to step 8 yet. The way I read it, it's happening at like what is it? It's step 7.5, activating drop site. So you will still get battalion combat as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Alright, Sheltari abilities. Impel mines. When a friendly carrier with heavy or C is colossal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can launch an impel mine in addition to its normal assets this round. Impel mines are annoying.
It's also the only way to use mines presently, I believe. There are no ships that have them equipped.
I believe that's correct.
When you use a group's shield X, roll a dice. On a 4-up, you don't gain a spike. Okay.
I like misdirection.
Yeah, so you just redistribute all the assets in a drop site. It's kind of interesting. I want to play around with the new drop site stuff a bit to kind of get a feel for it.
It is definitely different, like trying to get your mind
out of V1.
Yeah.
Out of all 4 versions of V1, that is. Okay, navigational mastery. At the start of a friendly group's activation, that group increases its thrust by D3. It almost, I mean, Sheltari ships are pretty fast. Oh, let me go back.
It has been, we'll probably talk about it later. There's the UCM ability too. Like I've found in a couple games, like, especially when you, like, because bases can't overlap, getting those abilities where it's just like, oh, just give me one more inch so I can get around that stupid base.
Right.
Can be really useful.
Power to the weapons. At the start of friendly group's activation, that group may fire any number of its weapons on general quarters, but may not use shield saves. Weird. So it's kind of like, do a general quarters, but it's secret weapons free, but you can't use shields.
Yeah, you're gambling that they're not going to be able to punish you for it, and you'll get a big payoff for a lot of extra weapons without spiking yourself.
I mean, if you know you're getting the alpha strike on a friendly group, and it's when you activate it, so that's good. It seems really, it seems really powerful. It would feel more gambly if it was like at the beginning of the turn, pick a group. You know what I mean?
If you know your opponent doesn't have any detector ships, like, this can be a pretty big advantage, right?
Well, what I'm saying is because it's when you start that group's activation, you can just wait. I don't know. At the start of each round, pick one ability from any other admiral on the table. Okay, any other admiral.
Abilities. Lives of Experience is pretty great.
So basically, they're talking about special admiral abilities, right?
Yeah, like the ones from this list, whichever one your opponent has selected. Or
Yeah, I don't
on the admiral.
can't pick like famous admiral abilities with this one.
Are you
Right.
sure?
So
They already said you can't do that.
So you take your admiral's ability and
Maybe
then
I don't know.
pick some number of these, right? Is that right?
Yeah, certain admiral. We'll go over that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it is any other admiral. I don't know what's defined as the table.
It's,
I would assume it works on any other admiral on the table. If they're on the table,
Oh,
you can
on
pick
the
one of their
table.
abilities.
Okay.
the physical table.
Yeah, I was thinking like the table as in the PDFs. That's what I was thinking.
Uh,
Oh, that would be even more busted.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think you can't. Like, what? It makes sense now. I get it. I get it.
All right,
I blame myself. English is not my first language.
well, table is the first
ESL?
word of TT combat, so I don't know.
No, I get it. Your guys' interpretation is legit. Mine was stupid.
Good fight. We should do it more often. All right, so we're going to Biophyser. First of all, some of the naming of this is really funny to me because I don't know what Biophyser's like attitude is supposed to be like, so these are really confusing to me.
Fight. It sounds fun. You
Yeah.
should identify with that as an orc.
But then the last one that's unsportsmanlike behavior. what are they
It's the
calling
best one.
calling a flag on the play? What is going on? Okay.
Paint your bioficers as ref stripes.
Oh man. That's a Rumble Slam crossover waiting to happen. Anyway, good fight. We should do it more often. If a friendly group's attack would cause an enemy group to be completely removed from the table, the friendly group may immediately turn up to 45 degrees. What? So just impel yourself if you completely remove something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a faction of front and forward narrow weapons, it's pretty useful ability actually.
No, it is. I see how it's useful. It's just kind of funny to me. Maddening Communique. At the start of the activation phase, pick an opponent. That opponent's abilities cost 1 additional AP to use until the end of the round.
You just troll them a little bit.
It's 3 of your ability points though, so I feel like if they're just like, that's fine, I just won't do anything, they kind of make you spend more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, especially for like fleets that maybe like mapped out how they want to use their ability points.
Yeah.
Especially for like those launch assets, like, oh, now you need 3 to, get that extra 6-inch thrust.
Forcing an unfair fight. At the start of the asset phase, pick a drop site you can test. Each player rolls d6 and adds that many battalions to the drop site for any of its features they already have battalions on. Okay, I have a question. Okay, we both roll d6s and we roll 5s. Are we getting 5 total to distribute, or are we putting 5 on any features on the battalion or on the drop site we already have battalions on? Yeah, if I have 2 battalions on 2 different spots and we rolled 5, so am I putting 5 here and 5 there on both spots? Or am I distributing like a 2 and a 3 to add up to 5?
I would assume it's just the d6 and then go anywhere on the drop site that you pick.
I assume it's distributed from your roll. I don't know if they have to go to the same place.
I would interpret it that it would be to the same place.
Okay.
Because it would be the drop site or any of the features you have battalions on.
What I'm saying is if you have battalions on 2 places, then it...
Still one place. Like, that's fine. Like, you have drop site, you have feature.
Okay, I accept. I'm just saying It could be slightly clearer. Maybe I'm just being a curmudgeon. Okay, precision strike. When you attack with a group, pick one of its weapons. All ships in the group improve the lock of that weapon by 1 for that attack.
This is actually insane. Like, ridiculously, insanely good.
This is when I played Biopiecers, and then this is the ability I always took. I could not justify any other ones. I always took this one.
It's the cheapest one that directly increases your damage.
So
it's that simple.
So if you have 3 ships in a group, do they increase it by 2? Or by...
You pick one weapon.
One of the weapon. One weapon. One weapon in the group.
Get that. So if you've got 3 ships with the same weapon, each of those weapons gains +1 attack.
I thought it was improve the lock.
Or lock, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just getting +1 lock to that weapon for the entire group.
So if you had 3 ships with like a 4-up lock something, now it's 3-up.
Well, now you've got 3 with 3-ups.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's wild.
That's pretty spooky, actually. Prismatic surprise. Oh, this is a Harlequin thing if I ever heard it. At the end of the planning phase, you may swap the attached payloads of 2 porter ships with the same porter value. What?
They might have to fix this later too, because they mentioned capacity now instead of value. So, but everything is capacity 1 for now.
So you swap the payloads?
Except for the combine. Yeah, you're just swapping the payloads, I guess.
What was that special admiral's ability?
Well, that you can like suck one up right away.
Yeah, you could suck one up and then have another ship and then swap them and then
get another activate. Well, technically you can't. I was reading like it's pretty explicit in Porter that like if it sucked one up, then that payload ship can't activate that round anymore, right? So like if it activated, gets sucked up, move to another ship, it's pretty clear that it can't be detached again.
But I mean, if that's like just a way to save it,
yeah,
like to protect it or whatever, it could still be worth it. Okay, unsportsmanlike behavior. First of all, my face is covering it, but this is 4 ability points. At the end of a round, all players retain any unspent ability points from this round into the next round. In the next round, players cannot gain any ability points in the planning phase. So you could do Maddening Communicate, and if you somehow have enough ability points, you can then do unsportsmanlike behavior, or the reverse.
I don't see how you'd get that many points, honestly.
No.
Not without a huge game, but if you could do both, they're pretty fun.
Well,
I don't
what
think
is it?
There is, though.
You would drop. You have to hope the map has. There's a couple scenarios that has comm stations. Like if you have all 4 comm stations.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like that should be tough.
You have a bunch of comm stations. What's the highest level admiral you can have? It's that +2, right? Is what you get at the beginning of the turn.
What do you mean that +2?
Like it's your admiral value +2?
+1.
+1, okay.
Is how many points you generate.
So there's probably no level 6. So you probably need like... What's the highest? Level 4?
4 is a generic. Plop it in a command ship. And then some scenarios have 1 or 2. So, I mean, you can get to 7, but like in Biofacers...
They don't have a command ship.
Yeah, they don't have a command ship, so it's going to be tough to get that combo to happen.
Well, I know what I'm doing for the whole edition. I've got one goal.
So glad you have gold.
They're not realistic goals, but they're very entertaining goals. Okay. So, every faction has famous abilities. Is this based on the admiral level? you're taking, you can also take these maybe?
No, when you buy the Admiral for each fleet, they're like all level 3 for 50 points. And they usually come with these, well, they all do come with these extra abilities. And then you can pick one of the generic abilities from the UCM table.
Okay.
In this case.
So basically, a Rear Admiral will have 3 abilities. One you picked, and then these 2.
Yep.
So overcharged
They're
lasers.
really just extra faction abilities, realistically, because that's the only way to use them.
Fusillade 2 is extra shots on weapons free, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And
that's a group too on that one. So like,
yeah, that's pretty.
Berlin's or New Cairo's, like that can be pretty brutal.
Push engines to max. Start a group sector, achieve a source 1D engine. Oh sure, yeah, just like blow up part of the engine bay, but go too faster. I'm sure it's fine. We'll get more engineers later.
It came down to a factor for me in one game where it's just like I really needed to get to that drop site, and I was being like outmaneuvered, and I was like, oh, I got this ability. It gave me just enough to get that San Francisco in.
I really like that there's a trade-off though.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that help makes it interesting. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Okay, so these are the named fancy boys, right?
Yeah.
So the Warsaw has the double Cobra heavy lasers.
Yep.
They've messed with the way it can use both or get a better firing arc with them a couple times, but so stressful maneuvers, like not an ability point thing, but just a feature of the ship.
Yep.
And then it has close quarter battle, which is when it moves each ship in it. What? Each ship in it suffers 1 point of damage and gains vector until you're around. Oh, when a friendly group moves. Okay, whatever. I'm dumb.
That can be pretty key. Like I said, like there's not a lot of burning per se, like turn and move in this edition. So getting vectored can be pretty
huge.
Important for a group. Yeah.
Havelock can't travel. Okay. So ballistic prediction, when you assign weapons with mass driver, improve lock value by 1 for that attack. Does this? No. It was that. Never mind. All right.
The other one gives you attacks. This one improves your lock.
This one, yeah, this one improves your lock. Okay. I thought the other one improved your lock too. The precision strike.
Oh, that was for biofusers. You're thinking mass driver volley, I think, increases the attack value.
Yeah, you're right. Mass driver volley. Yeah. Okay. So could you do both? Could you mass driver volley and ballistic prediction? It's a lot of ability points.
I would assume yes. The new FAQ had put something about like when you can, like this is.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think you can do both.
The Havelock also has a pretty cheeky ability if you just race into your opponent's deployment zone. Just reroll backup saves. It's fine.
How fast is it in New York? Like 6 inches?
I don't know. It's not. Can't be that fast. I'm not saying it can never get there, but you'd have to try pretty hard to get there.
Let's just say that thrust stat will maybe changing at some point in the near future.
Yeah. The Weaver. The Weaver has Jink, which is automatically makes it good to Cyrus, no matter what it says. You place it 2 inches away on a line drawn directly through the center of both side arcs. Okay, so it can move and then just like juke left and right. That's fun.
I think it can flip around too. Am I correct in that one? Like you could have it do a 180?
I guess. I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess.
It has hypervector. Does the Weaver have front and arrow weapons? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, it's a Perth. That's the laser.
Oh, and it has the ability Laser Bombardment. When you assign targets to a weapon with laser in its name and an arc of FN, narrow, the weapon gains bombardment for that attack. Okay, if you really, really, really want to destroy a feature, you can.
Hey, Sky, we figured out what the Kodiak's calling in now.
Finally.
Figured it out.
Is that what we think it is? We think it's a laser bombardment?
It has to be. 'Cause it's a laser.
We're watching this. We're watching this ship like Tokyo drift off the atmosphere up there and just shoot lasers all over the damn place. That's fine. Okay, the Granite, which is not the Sheltari ship. Fighters and bombers launch from the ship may place 8 inches away instead of 6. Okay. 3 ability points, Master Tactician. Before you roll initiative this round, you roll initiative for this round automatically becomes a roll of 6. Okay. Win initiative. Congratulations.
Eldar cheating shenanigans approved.
I mean, they did put Granite in the name, so maybe they did steal it from Sheltari. Scourge Fleet Champion. Andrew, you want to take over for a minute?
So classics, right? Off the deck from V1, dissipate energy, get rid of a spike from a group. Silent launch, those that like to keep their SIG at 0, and still launch. There it is. I don't know what else. Like, if I took a Scourge Fleet Champion, I'd probably be using more from the table than these two. Was my experience so far. So
yeah, why would you dissipate energy when you have a special ship that absorbs spikes? What's wrong with you?
That's a point commitment. I don't know if we're all ready to do, Sky.
I know we've already confirmed that I was wrong and that ship's bad, but what do you want me to do? They gave it the ability. I should be using it.
Not bad.
All right. Silent
I can handle
launch.
these guys. Yeah. What about it?
It just is what it is.
Enslaver's new. I don't think he was in V1. It's in Araiju. Its passive is doomed, which is kind of interesting because it's when you capture an enemy ship, you gain 2 AP. But you lose that AP at the end of the round. So I'm trying to figure out when you would, or what would you want to use the 2 AP for, other than, I guess, rerolls. Maybe you funnel it into some fighter bomber movement or some launch movement. But the Inferno Maul is really interesting because you have to reroll everything on the attack dice. Kind of reminiscent of whenever I did burn through in V1. Like, I rolled horrible for burn through on Scourge in V1.
Yeah, me too.
I would love that ability. My favorite so far is the Flayer. He's pretty good. I'm gonna get a lot of use out of my Shadow, I think, in this edition. Closing in personal is nice. Given max thrust and then still being able to fire a close action weapon can be really powerful. Just got to remember that in this edition you can't turn on that max thrust. So you can see a Strix group go 24. You can see Jins go 24 and then go attack. Baba Yaga's brought the same thing as she was before. When you launch, right, those dropships of bulk landers, you place an additional D3 battalion tokens on that drop site. Just make sure that you control it, or if you need to get around, like you need your bulk landers to kind of get beefed up because there's that one enemy battalion there. screwing it all up. And then she also gets AP back whenever you destroy an enemy group, which is pretty interesting. Maybe she gets it back. I know I would never make any of those 4-ups. What else? Overlord of Flies makes that Nosferatu have a launch of 8 or a load of 8 fighters and bombers, which can be really nice. But they can't leave more than 14 inches away, so kind of limits them. I don't know how that's going to work with if it joined like another wing from that wasn't part of it. I would assume, Cyrus, correct me, I would assume you're still stuck at 14. I don't care how big that wing is. It has guys from the Nosferatu, so I would assume that it's got to stay within 14.
Worst case would be you have to track how many of each type are in the stack, and then you would just split the stack and keep all the ones from the Nosferatu within 14, and then you move the other ones away. But even that's a little iffy.
So with the FAQ that came out, the way I read it was something like if a trigger happens, you only can like kind of get something once off that trigger. So when a friendly fighter or bomber wing is completely removed, you can't stack this limitless pestilence. So basically, you only get this one chance to get a single fighter or bomber.
Interesting. What does that really do other than give you a piddly attack or maybe help you build a wing again later?
That's pretty much it. As far as I can tell, I don't know. I'm not seeing something here.
Yeah, I don't see how it's all that useful either.
If I were to use it, it would be for fighters because
just the kinetic reroll.
Exactly.
Assume we're on PHR now?
Yeah, the vice director, you want to take it away?
A little bit, sure. Reroute systems. You just auto-repair one of your crippling effects. It is at the start of the group's activation, not towards the end, so like it has to already have the thing on it, and you can just get rid of that. That's pretty neat. And then ranked fire is also really good. I believe there were some open questions about how Volley X was supposed to work appropriately, and they answered that, so assuming everyone is on the same page now, you don't have to alternate your weapon fire anymore. You don't have to shoot once to one side, then to the other, and then back again. You can just fire all of your attacks with volley against the same side. It's pretty great. That's about it, really. Unfortunately, I don't really know much about all the famous ones. I've never cared for the famous commanders personally.
Okay.
I think Yep would know more.
Yeah, I can take it. Javelin in, forgot, what was it? Self-repair. He's in an Achilles, right? Yeah, Achilles.
Yes.
Heavy sniper can be interesting. I can see some people getting a little finicky about when, like, how do you actually use it? Well, you just double the scan value when you declare your target, and then you check measurements. There's no close action on that ship anymore, though, if I remember correctly.
Nope. It's just heavy calibers and torpedo.
Helena of Asgard, Admiral level 2, always surprised me on that one. But then we didn't get it in here, but I think her Pompeius has an alt ability. With the I forgot what the weapon system's called, but basically favoring obviously shooting light tonnage. And then her Admiral ability, I think, enhances that as well. Oh, that can be for anyone in the fleet too. That's pretty good. Claudio Ree, high G maneuver, so she gets her turn back on max thrust. Or actually any group does, so that can be pretty key, especially for a slow PHR fleet. And guys, Chow, I think that's Chow. if you attack with and do not overcharge. Oh. He's gonna want to get up and close. Scald 1.
Yeah, Scald. It's pretty interesting.
And then he has that backup systems engaged, so just not rolling. The crippling damage table is still crippled. Oh, that's really nice.
Yes, it's a lot of points to spend for a 4-up.
Is it 4-ups on the locks for those energy glaives?
I believe glaives are 3+ lock.
That one, I'm going to look it up.
But I mean,
Yeah,
for the
it's 3+.
backup systems engaged, that only works on a 4+.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then for Helena of Asgard, I'm pretty sure she's a lower level admiral because she's like newer to that position in the lore.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she's like she's from Asgard. She's not actually from home soil.
She's way less points though.
On pace isn't as good as it was in last edition.
Yeah, they were pretty much the killer app in last edition. Now they're still good. I definitely don't think they're as scarily good.
Yeah, that alt attack has 8 attacks on it. 8 attacks, and then and it can only be used to hit light tonnage.
Okay, let's keep going, I guess. Okay, Sheltari Star Chief. So, overclock gates, star activation phase, pick a friendly ship with the gate ship X rule, which that basically makes it a gate, right, of some value.
Yeah.
So that's how many things it can drop? How many battalions?
Yeah.
Yep. So double it basically. Is it for the group? No, it's just for that single void gate, or what else has it? Selenia? No.
One of the little ones.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
The monitor would double to 4.
And then of course Sheltari have espionage because someone has to have it.
I'm just imagining a hedgehog like being a spy on a human ship.
Is that a hedgehog on staff? Oh, don't worry about him.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
He's just glowing different colors. We're okay.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Okay. And then their famous admirals. Okay, so obviously we're going to start with something weird. The double amber cruisers as an admiral.
Remind me, the ambers, do they have disruptors or do they have particle cannons?
I'm pretty sure those have the disruptors. I know they're not particles. Oh, they're disintegrator batteries.
Disintegrators, sorry.
Yeah, the 3-ups.
I find it interesting because it's a way to have more medium ships for list construction. Like,
oh yeah,
it's kind of strange. And then its benefit, or its ability anyway, is still about medium tonnage stuff. So you grant vectored to medium tonnage groups, or a group, which I guess could be this admiral. It's kind of strange. What's the coherency of medium cruisers?
It'd be 6 inches.
6? You could split around some funny terrain stuff.
Yes.
The Seth, or Seth in a Sapphire, whatever. One of the flagship's gravity coils will cause the ship to turn to impel. You gain an ability point. Could you try... You can't impel mine yourself, can you?
No, because you have to target an enemy group, I believe.
Okay. The ability is 3 ability points. I'm kind of blocking it. Master of Gravity. When your opponent activates a group, pick another group, friendly or enemy, that it has not activated this round. Turn that group if it was successfully critically hit by an attack with Impel X. Ships in that group gain vectored until the end of the round. So, can you target yourself?
Friendly or enemy.
it's not really worth it because you spend 3 ability points to gain 1, but then you gain vectored. It's kind of strange. I don't think it's meant for you to target Seth himself, but it's interesting.
I just realized like its trigger, right, is when your opponent activates a group. So if you put it on, like, why would you want to turn your own ships during your opponent's activation?
I guess to set up better front and arrow shots for groups they haven't activated yet.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of. Let's see. Mergen the Learned in a diamond. When damage from this flagship's disintegrate battery is part of an attack that causes a ship to be destroyed, instead for rolling for an explosion, all ships in explosion range suffer 1 damage. So the size is not variable, or the explosion is limited to 1 damage specifically?
I think it's just limited to the 1 damage.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So no saves, no shield, just a straight damage.
You know, if you're kind of like playing Danger Close, and the thing you're targeting that explodes is close to your own ships, in a way, this is like a control about how much damage your ships are going to take, right? Because it's like because then it's a known factor instead of like a random one.
Right.
Okay, Ancient Teleportation Node. Once per round at the end of the planning phase, target a drop site with friendly battalions on it. That drop site gains the Gate Ship 1 special rule till the end of the round, treating the drop site as a ship for this rule. Drop sites aren't ships, except when they are. Oh man, I used to know how to say this word. Quetzalcoatl. Uranium.
Is it Quetzalcoatl?
It's a bird. It's a bird creature thing.
I can't say it either.
At the end of the ship's activation, each enemy group within 4 inches suffers D3 core hits. What?
That's mean. Like, you just fly that thing into the bubble of your opponent.
just zoom up and touch them. You don't even have to shoot any guns. And then its ability is also radioactivity. When any player rolls for explosion from their enemy, make the final result of that roll a 5. Ouch. Okay, I feel like this is more about uranium and less about Sheltari, but that's fine. They should have just named it the Demon Core. Okay. Resistance. Have you gotten to play with any of these? Or against any of these, Andy?
Yeah, I did, last game I played, yes, I have played against Resistance. What is it? Just stupid Bulklander, the Aldrin. Magic Repairs saved it.
Oh my gosh.
I had, what was it? I had Heroku's hit a Aldrin that was trying to flank me, and I crippled that thing. I'm pretty sure I crippled it, and and then the following turn I had to move on, so I couldn't shoot it. And at the end of the game, basically that thing regenerated back to full health because of Manic Repairs.
Yeah. Yep, typical Resistance stuff. It's fine.
It's a good ability. I like it.
The Resistance Elite Force is funny too, but I feel like that's when we get to seeing more boarding action stuff, I think we'll see these get used more.
Well, till then, it almost feels like a dead ability because you'll almost never get to use it, and it's one of your forced abilities.
Yeah. Bullet Baron. Oh man.
I think that's the one that, like, out of the famous admirals that people would be most inclined to use.
Yeah, the core artillery. Oh man, that's just gross. Okay, so Bullet Baron. Okay, so it has to take certain artillery weapons, but believe me, it wants to anyway. The special thing is that for 2 ability points, you give the artillery weapons core, and that is so good. We've been harping on core for like all the faction videos. It's how you kill big things. The Tribune. Oh. The Admiral may take one... Okay, whatever, I'm reading the wrong part. Reinforced systems. When a friendly ship of heavy or colossal tonnage would roll backup saves to do an attack, improve its backup save for that attack by 1. What was the thing that let you reroll backup saves? Oh, it was the UCM ship that got all the way to their deployment zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one has the reason I didn't grab the full load, but it has he has a hidden a torpedo that they literally roll out and push it out of the bulk lander spot. I think that's the flavor of Hagen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's got 2 of them even.
Is this Nguyen? But like...
Yeah.
I want to say it's like NGYUEN. But whatever. I don't know anything, okay? If hull points lost due to event cannon batteries overcharge roll would cause a ship to be destroyed, it rolls 3d3 for its explosion, and that explosion also affects ships and other orbital layers, which there's only 2, but okay. So he explodes real bad if he does it to himself. When you overcharge a group's weapon with vent in its name, each ship in the firing group may overcharge a second weapon as activation. It's actually a really good way to get a lot of extra damage out. It's risky, but you can.
It makes a big difference. We accidentally played a game where we assumed that overcharge was all the weapons, and like it gets pretty devastating if you can overcharge all your weapons.
Okay, the Magellan has some forced weapons choices. So 2 mass drivers, 2 vent cannons, etc. It has a decent loadout of launch. That's really what it seems like it's for. All-terrain spaceships for 2 ability points. When you move a friendly group through micro meteor clouds or debris fields, the group does not suffer damage from that scenery piece for that movement. So you can just say, just go through it, no big deal. Just auto pass.
Pretty much.
Want to see someone make a Magellan, but then have monster truck wheels on it.
Oh my gosh, don't tempt me. That's just what we need. We need like the resistance moon buggies for drop zone. All right. Would you like to go over these, Andy, or do you?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. Biophyser accumulator.
Right. So this is the faction gravitic maneuvering. A friendly group is given access order. It may turn as if it was on General Quarter. So that all key for a front narrow faction, right? To try to get your opponent if they're outspeeding you and flanking you. I think kinetic destruction is a really good one, because it gives you that versatility to change your decon weapons to kinetic. So you can lean into your opponent's weakness if that is their weakness. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty useful. It will be opponent dependent, of course.
Being recorded. I think it's really good because it just it kind of manipulates the system of the two save types a lot more than it appears to.
Yeah.
It's really situational, but I think it is actually very good.
I mean, this was the ability that I was talking about with the stature, right? You're gonna drop 12 dice and go, "Ah, your weakness is kinetic. I'll just flip a switch."
Yeah, no big deal. Okay, the catastrophe. I think we picked this, didn't we?
You did. This is the emergency reattachment protocol. So this is the one we were like, okay, is there a way to abuse this? And I, like I said, upon my reading of it, it seems like that they caught, like TT caught themselves and made sure that you couldn't abuse this. I don't see any bad way of abusing it.
It's still good, I think.
Agreed.
I mean, it's very resistant style to just like, oh, that thing didn't die. Don't worry about it. But, you know, whatever. The Atom.
I didn't grab his weapons.
So if it says this weapon's bombardment special rule has no effects on ships in atmosphere, does that mean A, you can't target ships in atmosphere, or B, you don't get
you don't get the benefits of having a bombardment on the weapon itself. That's all.
Okay, well then you wouldn't be able to target descent ships, right?
You can. You'll just be reduced to 6s.
Okay. And then Vice lightly. When you assign targets to a weapon with light Vice in its name, that weapon ignores its focused rule for that attack.
I see what they did there.
Yeah, what a play on words. It's an ability I call wordplay. Anyway. Oh, that's it. That's the end. We made it, boys. The God Ray Light Vice with its Vice lightly, where you can choose a weapon with light Vice in its name.
I think that's the only bombardment besides their light ships. I don't think they have. It's just on this guy.
Yeah, the cell, the logic in this guy. I think that's all.
It's wild.
Yeah, the invasion cell, which is really just logic.
All right, well, sorry this is a long one, but thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully you didn't have to skip through a bunch. Sorry that I'm a little under the weather and stuff, but this was a lot to go through. I hope you have fun listening to our nonsense. And of course, you know, thanks to Andrew and Cyrus for actually being here in the middle of the night.
I try.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. Go ahead and crump the like button, subscribe if you want to watch more of our stuff. We run a tiny little friendly local game store with an online store too, called Go for Games. You know, where you go for games. Anyway, support us and have fun. Thanks so much.